Well, hey now, everybody. It's the Rob from 106.1 KISS FM here with my tag team partner in podcasting, the American Dream, the son of a plumber, Mr. Jerry Valeri. Good morning, Jer.
Good morning, Rob. And contrary to popular belief, I didn't walk out on the podcast. I just had a thing to do yesterday. I didn't storm out.
It's funny you didn't have a thing to do until everyone started telling you were wrong on the post show.
Nobody told me I was wrong.
A lot of people told you were wrong.
Listen, I had a thing that I had to do, and that was that. Now, listen, you're the JBL of this podcast, you bully. You're a big old bully.
What in the world? How am I being compared to a bully? If you can validate that claim at all, I'm all ears.
I feel like you bullied Travis yesterday so bad. You asked him two honest questions. He gave you two honest answers.
I hope you're kidding me.
And then you spent like 10 minutes giving him crap for his answers. And shame on him for being so spineless that he spent the rest of the podcast backpedaling.
What are you talking about?
He said that the Royal Rumble wasn't good and the Backlash was better. And then he backpedaled the rest of the podcast.
Okay, I kind of got that vibe too, but I don't think I bullied him in any way.
Bully, you're just a big old bully.
Well, do I owe him an apology? Do I need to go and say like, did I bully you yesterday? I don't think that I did. I disagreed with him.
I'm exaggerating with the bully. I just think it's interesting. To get me to react the way that he did, you would have to bully me. All you did was say, I don't agree with what you said. And then he backpedaled.
Hold on. Let me, by the way, this is my favorite topic of 2018, the one that will not die. I asked Travis which he thought was better, and he said Backlash was better.
And then he spent 20 minutes backpedaling.
Hold on. Let me. Okay, you mentioned that. Now let me tell you what I think happened.
All right.
He said that Backlash was better, and I asked him why, and he gave a bunch of reasons. Like, for example, he says, how many titles changed hands at the Greatest Royal Rumble? Obviously, my defense to that's going to be how many changed hands at Backlash. You know, so if presenting arguments to my theory is considered bullying by you snowflake, then sure, I bullied him.
You bullied him. Listen, I will say this. I agree with I like Travis's opinion that I agree with him that Royal Rumble sucked and that Backlash was better. But then his answers, man, were wrong. Like, he was given reasons. Like, his reasoning wasn't even factual. Like, he was like, I didn't even like it because I didn't like the Greatest Royal Rumble because, like, the Daniel Bryan match was bad. And I was like, wait a second, that was Backlash. Like, he had him backwards. And so, like, he was all mixed up. And then he was backpedaling and he made no sense. But he showed no backbone against a JBL type like you.
I don't agree. I think that maybe I presented some solid arguments that made people rethink their thought about. You can't say, look, part of your argument can't be that no titles changed hands at the Greatest Royal Rumble, because
that's not my argument. It was a house.
Even less titles changed hands. At the very least, at the Rumble, you had the Raw title tournament ending.
He needed to stop it was a glorified house show. If he would have stopped talking right there, he would have been fine.
I don't get how people are using that. What house show are people seeing Brock Lesnar in a steel cage at?
I want to move on.
When is the last house show you saw John Cena face Triple H?
I want to move on.
When's the last house show? Last house show that had a 50-man Royal Rumble? I just don't understand that.
It was all out of context and weird, and I just didn't like it.
Didn't like the Rumble?
I didn't like the Greatest Royal Rumble. I didn't like that 5-hour slog. I didn't like it.
I did.
And I'm not going to change my opinion like Travis Sams. I'm not going to be a flip-flopping, wishy-washy, spineless.
Now you're bullying him. He might not be in the room, but I'm gonna take up for it. Maybe I just presented some arguments that made him realize maybe I should rethink this.
Maybe.
Anyway,
he owned a wrestling company. I can't argue with him. He was working the whole way through the podcast. I was like, oh my goodness.
I have to. He was only working when we were talking about New Focus.
I know, he was kidding.
And it was like, to be
I
fair,
like Travis. I just like giving all of your other co-hosts a hard time.
To be fair, if someone in State College was tweeted a picture of by Triple H, well, I would think we would shout that out too.
Well, you didn't really get into detail about that too much.
So so
what happened?
Mike Mikas, who you weren't the host of the show, it was me and Steve, but Mike Mikas, you probably remember, came in for an interview one day on Post to Post. Boy, it's a few years ago now. Talking about his time at the WWE Performance Center and his career goals and stuff like that. So a few days ago, Triple H tweeted a photo, or I guess it was more like a link to an article about trainees visiting the Performance Center. And the default image on his tweet, like the thumbnail of the article, had Mike in it.
Oh, that's good for him. See, that's great.
I mean, we're not saying it's like, hey, he's going to be the next signee or whatever, but he got tweeted by a picture of him got tweeted by freaking Triple H. That's pretty cool, I feel like.
Yeah, I didn't know what you guys were talking about because you didn't get into it too much.
So that needed more context. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, so that was that. It's so funny.
Are we done shooting on each other? Can we get back to being friends? Can we talk about SmackDown? Can we be friends?
I called you the American Dream, the son of the plumber today. And when it's just a thumbnail of you in the corner, you look to me like you're wearing black and yellow polka dots.
Is this a rib?
What's all over you? What are you wearing?
I'm wearing, so people from this organization, Center Gives, came in today and they had stickers and they wanted me to, they gave me one and I was like, well, I want a bunch of them. And then they gave me a bunch of them. So I had them all over me. I don't know why, for a selfie. It's a good thing. It's like, there are 150 charitable organizations in Center County, in the region where I live. And I know this is mainly an Evansville podcast, but there are some people in this area, so I don't mind mentioning it quickly. If you donate money to them now, there's like this stretch pool matching program where if you donate to, like, if 2 weeks ago you donated $50 to a charity that you like, they got $50. If you donate $50 to them today in this Center Gives window, they get like $85. So your money just goes further, and they've raised in 24 hours, it's a 36-hour thing, they've raised over $1 million for organizations in town. So
that's awesome.
I'm wearing their stickers, and now that I know that I look like Dusty Rhodes, I wish I had more of them, and I'd put them all over my whole shirt.
Well, I mean, it's worth mentioning that I am colorblind, and I can tell when I make you big that they're green, and but little, it just looks like Dusty Rhodes to me when you're in the thumbnail. That's funny,
it's not what I was going for. I felt like I looked like Black Panther.
Well, but keep in mind, it's above your bust, the shot. So it looks just like the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, baby.
Hey, baby.
Hey, baby.
Second most recognizable athlete in the world, next to Muhammad Ali.
Fans of Something to Wrestle With will certainly get that reference. What a great story that was. And I am happy to report that podcast, I should say the network show is getting better every week.
Leaps and bounds. I told you that first week was a real hiccup.
That first one almost killed me to it. Where I love the podcast. The podcast isn't going anywhere, but the episode 1 was almost too rough for me to handle. And then 2 and 3, they were getting more comfortable. 2, they were getting more comfortable. And 3, the one with Shawn Michaels, was where I want it to be.
What's tonight's? I don't even know the topic.
The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
See, and I like that they're doing the older stuff, and I also think it's smart of them for now to do stuff they've already covered.
I don't know that I agree with that second part.
I do, for a comfort level for them. They try to do something new right away, and it kind of botched, and they know what they're talking about, and they've already kind of gone over bits, and it feels a little smoother. It is a new audience. I get what they're doing. At some point, they need to give the big podcast fans something new. But until they get totally settled in, I think just playing the hits is okay for them.
I feel like these are the podcasts that should be heavily reliant on video segments. So I almost wish they would save their watch-alongs for the network, because I don't care as much for the watch-alongs podcasts, but I feel like they would benefit from just doing a network watch-along.
Oh, if they did a network watch-along, that'd be so great. You wouldn't have to sync it up. I wouldn't have to do anything. You just turn it on and then you just go right over top of it. That would be really cool.
I feel like the stuff that's heavily reliant on video would benefit from that. And we'll move off of this in a second, because I know people are here to hear about SmackDown. But did you hear Conrad and Bischoff, who's launched a new podcast?
I haven't listened to that yet. There's so much.
I know. I'm the same way. I have so much to listen to that it's really good. They've got good chemistry together. They bicker a lot, which, as you know, I like, which is why we've been doing this so much here lately. But they bicker more than he does with Bruce. And not only that, it's like with Bischoff, they turn into real good drama sometimes.
Yeah, I don't like bickering for the sake of bickering, but when it's warranted, like one of your best friends says that the greatest Royal Rumble was awesome, like when you have to bicker, it makes sense.
Yeah, or I mean, just like if someone said that Backlash was better than one of the better pay-per-views in the past year, I would be like, yeah, that's something that I would really start picking at. Sure.
We want to move on to SmackDown now before the feet's back up.
Did you watch it?
I did. I watched SmackDown.
Did you think it was better than the greatest Royal Rumble?
I fell asleep. I fell asleep during the Charlotte and Peyton Royce match. I did. I fell asleep.
She's so hot.
She is so hot.
I know
she
you're
really
a Charlotte.
Is.
I know you're a Charlotte guy, but I'm a Peyton Royce guy.
I'm becoming a Billie Kay guy. She's really good.
There's nothing wrong. I don't know why my eyes always go to Peyton, but there's nothing wrong with Billie Kay.
Oh man, those two, and I just love the way they say iconic. I like their promo.
When they come out, they do like this back-to-back thing, and like there's little subtle things, like they quickly grab each other's
swear.
Yeah, and they grab each other's hands for like a second. It's like, I don't know, I like it. I like it a lot.
They're very good, and they're taking SmackDown Live by storm. I think that's good. I do know who won the match, even though I fell asleep because I kind of woke up as it was ending, and then I just.
And this is praise. SmackDown has been giving you some surprising outcomes here lately. I pointed it out last week, and it's certainly continued again this week. I'm sure we'll talk more about this, but for example, who saw Mandy Rose beating Becky Lynch last night? I think probably not many.
Nobody.
Yeah. Who I know you fell asleep, but who would have thought that Rusev would have beaten Daniel Bryan clean?
Well, and that was my question, because I saw he beat him, and I said, okay, did Cass get involved? But it was clean. It was clean.
Machka kick 1, 2, 3.
You know what? Good for Rusev. I don't know what they're doing with Daniel Bryan here, but good for Rusev.
Well, to be honest with you, I was kind of thinking that Rusev was going to win, because I assume Daniel Bryan will have a bigger role at Money in the Bank than the ladder match, which is also.
You can't just have the ladder matches. You have to have some good singles matches. So him and Cass makes sense.
Or whatever. Same thing with both Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens on Monday, which, by the way, I realized I titled the article yesterday incorrectly. I said that Ember Moon, Finn Balor, and Kevin Owens advanced. I don't know why I did that. I know that Braun Strowman beat Kevin Owens. I'm not even sure anyone even noticed.
I saw that, but I'm like, nobody's perfect. Who cares?
I assume that Kevin and Sammy will also have a role outside of the ladder match together.
Yeah, maybe. Or they may sneak in. I'm not 100% sure that the people that lose their qualifying matches won't get second chances.
They kind of hinted at that last night too. I agree with you. I can't imagine everyone who's lost a match not being in.
Although Jeff Hardy not being in, I get why you don't need your U.S. champion to be in the Money in the Bank.
Right.
But Jeff Hardy in a ladder match, people will always kind of like that. And he's good for a spot or two, although he's putting on good matches, but does he just seem like just a slower Jeff Hardy? Just an older, slower Jeff Hardy.
Compared to his last run?
Yeah, I mean, it's just everything's just a little. It's the same Jeff Hardy, only slower.
I mean, it's been a long time. It's been, I don't know exactly when he left, but I think it was like 08, 09-ish, maybe 2010-ish.
I'm over the 2000 2001 ring gear though. I'm over the Jinko jeans and the tie-dye shirt. Like I'd like him to change that up a little bit.
That doesn't bother me, especially because he's got like the same music and entrance and stuff.
Yeah.
I am really happy that since he's come back as a solo entertainer, solo wrestler, he's been putting on really good matches.
He has. I mean, and the match with Miz was good, and I was happy Miz won.
I can't think. When was the last time Randy Orton had a match that good?
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I'm talking about from Sunday. If you didn't pick that up.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I didn't know what you meant. I thought you were just comparing it to last night's match. But you're right. Randy Orton, or have a match I cared about.
Yeah, the last, like, I remember there was one match. It was the one in St. Louis with his dad at ringside that I liked. It was Jinder and Orton. But outside of that, you have to go back a long way to find another Randy Orton match that I care about.
That was the one Jinder Randy Orton match that was good. That if they had ended it there, they'd have been fine. But instead, they had to give us the Punjabi prison match.
And I don't know if it was because of those intangibles, like with the old timers being at ringside and it being in St. Louis. Maybe that was part of the reason why I liked it so much. I don't know how the match would stand up outside of that, but that was a match that I remember saying that was excellent when it was done.
Yeah.
So, but that's, I mean, you have to go back a long time to find, gosh, I mean, the last one that's jumping out at me was the WrestleMania match with Rollins. There may have been excellent matches since then, but that one, I think it was in San Francisco, or Santa Clara, or whatever, WrestleMania 32.
Santa Clara to be exact.
Well, I know, but I think a lot of times it's being billed as San Francisco.
Oh, no, it's San Francisco. It's where the 49ers play. You can say San Francisco.
That's what I thought. I just that was the match that I thought was, an excellent match too.
They're really making me wait for sanity. They're making me wait, but I think it'll be worth it. I hope it is.
I'm totally cool with that. Make us wait. I'm fine with that. Build anticipation, please.
They definitely have built it. Going back to the ladder match, the Money in the Bank. What do you think? So far, we know it's The Miz, Rusev, Finn Balor, and Braun Strowman. Do you like the way it's shaping up so far?
Are we missing one? I feel like or maybe I'm thinking of women.
Yeah, I can't keep track of the women. My brain won't keep track of the women's yet. But I did hear them mention
Sexist.
8. So they're doing 8 now.
They're doing 4 and 4.
It was always 7, but now it's 8.
When was it? I remember it being 6.
I always thought it was 7, but it could have been 6. I just remember last year they added people in at the last minute, and now it's forever 8. And 8 people in a ladder match is a lot. That's too many.
8 feels like a lot to me too. I think I like 6.
I mean, they're going to have that ladder match and a women's ladder match, and then did I hear there's a tag?
I've been hearing rumors about that, but that has not been confirmed.
That's a lot. I understand that it's multi-branded, but that's a lot of superstars in 3 matches. You're going to have a thin card outside of that.
Not necessarily. I mean, all your champions aren't going to be in it. Their opponents aren't going to be in it. So let's assume it's AJ and Nakamura. They're not going to be in it.
Okay. I want to get to that too.
Roman, I'm sure, is going to have a feud outside of it. I feel like they've got enough to do. I mean, they put 50 people into an amazing Royal Rumble. I don't know how they can't come up with a card for Money in the Bank.
You're the worst. By the way, are you really thinking that Roman Reigns is not going to sneak his way into this ladder match and ruin it for everybody? Because I sure think he is.
I don't know that he's going to be Mr. Money in the Bank this year. I haven't sat down and thought about it. I like that we have 6 weeks to think about it. I don't know. And I hear back and forth about Brock too. I've been hearing Brock's going to be at Money in the Bank, and I actually don't buy that one. I think it might be SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, that would make the last time that we saw Brock Lesnar was at the most forgettable, horrible show we've ever seen on pay-per-view. I mean, that's a shame.
It's pronounced the Greatest Royal Rumble. That was the name of the show. It was the accurate adjective to describe the pay-per-view.
Happy birthday, Bastion Booger.
It was the Greatest Royal Rumble 9 days before the worst Backlash.
Yes,
They should have called it that.
The worst backlash.
So let's talk also about, like I said, some of the surprising outcomes that SmackDown's been giving us. And again, I use the term surprising complimentary because a lot of times people accuse wrestling of being predictable.
Well, I like that. And just not to interrupt, but one more point to the whole predictability thing. Part of the reason I fell asleep was when I saw Daniel Bryan versus Rusev, I just thought I knew the ending already.
Yeah, and you assume Daniel Bryan, right?
Absolutely. And so kudos to them. You're absolutely right. I was just strengthening your point.
I will say this though. Well, we'll come back to the Mandy Rose thing and the other, like with Daniel Bryan losing. Maybe he's rusty, but his match at Mania was His match at Backlash to me was you seem like you liked it more than I did, but his match with Cass,
I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it.
Would you call it a good match, a great match? I would call it an okay match, to be honest.
I mean, I'd give it a good. I would have given it a good. It's funny. It was probably a mediocre to okay-ish Daniel Bryan match, but it was a great Cass match. So I feel like you mix those two together, and I say, if you look at who you're working with, that was a good match. That was a good match compared to what I expected.
I would say it was an above-average Cass match, but a below-average Daniel Bryan match. And last night with Rusev, I know you didn't see it. I also wouldn't call it a great match. And I'm kind of really waiting for that great Daniel Bryan match.
I was afraid he was going to come back rusty and not have good matches, but for a totally different reason. I thought that he was going to come back and be tentative and be nervous about injuring himself again. But they have not shied away from kicks to the head or hits to the head or neck, and they haven't shied from it at all, and neither has he. I don't know what the connection will get there. I mean, it's Daniel Bryan.
I think so too. I think so too, but it hasn't happened yet. And he's had a few. I mean, he had a good performance at the Greatest Royal Rumble. I'm not even making a joke now. He was in there for, I think, the longest time any single wrestler has been in a WWE match.
That was fun.
Yeah,
that was fun, and I'll admit that. You know, for me, it's kind of weird. I like Daniel Bryan. When Daniel Bryan was at his peak, when it was like peak Daniel Bryan time, I was still on and off with wrestling, and I wasn't watching it very much.
That was one of the angles I helped use to get you back into it. I remember.
Right. So everything leading up to that big yes movement moment on Raw that got us to the WrestleMania with Triple H. From that on, I was back into it, and from that on, I was in on Daniel Bryan. But I don't know any of the stuff before that, like the stuff that made everybody love him. I didn't really watch that. So when it comes to Daniel Bryan, I'm still relatively new to his in-ring stuff.
Like, I don't think personally, and I could be wrong about this, and feel free, anyone watching, to disagree with it. The stuff that got him over, I don't think was his angles. Like, I mean, there was a real memorable thing with Kane where they had to undergo like therapy with a therapist, and it was good. But I think what really got him over wasn't that stuff as much as just he was consistently giving you the best match every night. And that's why I think that the yes movement took off. It could have been any angle. He was just getting over with his in-ring work. People can, I mean, that's just my opinion on that one. But if I feel like between that Raw moment with Occupy Raw with the yes chance, leading up to that title win at WrestleMania, that was one of the modern day, because when we were growing up, there were so many magical moments in wrestling and at WrestleMania, and I feel like those are fleeting anymore to kids Evan's age.
Right.
I feel like that was one of the true magical moments that wrestling's capable of.
It really was. It was one of those Mania magical main events. It was like a Hogan Warrior for me. It was all of those, and then later when you had some of those really epic main events on WrestleMania, and then they tried to recreate that same thing with Roman Reigns. Remember that? taking the title from him at the Royal Rumble and really keeping him down, and the Authority keeping him down, and Roman Reigns fights back. And nobody gave a crap that year about Roman Reigns and Triple H. And it's the guy. It's not the angle. It's the guy. Sometimes it's the guy.
WWE has tried to manufacture magic constantly they're trying to do it right now with Roman. With Daniel Bryan, it was so natural, and that's what made it so magical.
Yeah, it was organic, and everybody loved it, and it felt so special.
Yeah, you can't write moments like that. It was just really special.
And then, unfortunately, you wish you could have written that moment because he got hurt right after. Right? It was shortly thereafter that he gets hurt, and they have to take the title. Then he comes back, gets the Intercontinental title at the next Mania, and then he gets hurt there, and then he's out forever. And now he's back. And so those are the very limited moments I've had of Daniel Bryan. So when I'm watching these matches, you're like, these aren't great Daniel Bryan matches, but I still think they're good because I don't know what the great matches look like.
Yeah, I think that they're not great Daniel Bryan matches, but I think that those are going to come back.
Good.
So, what else is worth talking about? So, okay, Mandy Rose, I feel like didn't just pick up a victory, a big one over Becky Lynch last night. I don't know if there's going to be a split, but I feel like she's going to have a solo run that might be noteworthy here, especially because did you notice her entrance?
Yes.
It was very memorable and even had camera effects that you don't see a lot.
They're going to split her from Sonya here. It's going to happen.
And she might be the star. Sonya's been kind of a disappointment.
I told you that. I feel like Sonya's got nothing there. And I thought they were going to make that split from them just without any to do. I didn't think it was going to be an on-camera thing. I thought they were just going to do the Superstar shakeup and move them separately, but they moved them over. And I think you're right. I think Mandy's going to be the one that rises from that group. And now who's the hottest girl on SmackDown, Rob? Is it Mandy or is it Peyton?
So I would have said Peyton before yesterday. And then she's got the entrance with the haze effect. And when I swear I'm not a 14-year-old boy. When she was making that entrance and like everything was like gold or orange or whatever color it was captivating. Every curve of her body was speaking to me.
Oh my God. Was Brittany beside you?
I don't believe at that time she was.
Good.
I may have asked her to leave.
Get out of here. I need some time.
So I was looking at some of my pictures because when I choose, for me, it's a lot less of a hassle to use pictures I've taken for cover photos for the blogs.
Sure.
So I was going through to find whatever. It was a picture of Finn Balor yesterday, and I have pictures of Mandy Rose on my phone, one with her very spread-legged, very clear shot. And I'm like,
baby,
she is a thing of beauty. She really is. Nice. So who do you think is?
I'd say Mandy, but I prefer Peyton all around.
Peyton might be the better worker, but yeah, I think Mandy, as far as looks goes, she's Roll Tide.
I mean, I think Peyton she's just your regular hot female on Raw or SmackDown, but like you really took to Peyton. But you really took to Peyton. Like, no, I think she's like a 9 or 10. I think she's hot as heck, but like, I didn't think she was transcendent. I mean, you see her as a transcendent, angelic.
There was this picture she tweeted a few months ago, probably like January-ish.
I mean, when she came out, the way you described it, you made it sound like you're sitting beside your fiance and Peyton Royce comes out and you almost can't even help but start beating the brakes off yourself. like you made it sound like you were just going to, well, I'm taking my pants off. It's time. Like you made it sound like
I don't know what happened that day. Control. I mean, that could have happened. Yeah. So a little before, like probably January, she tweeted this picture, and it was the first picture she had since her boobs got done. This picture is just like the most amazing thing you've ever seen. And I encourage you to find, I believe she's in like a white, like nightie almost. And it's really, so when I learned that she was coming up, I was like, oh yeah, the girl from that picture is coming up. It's like, let's rock and roll. You know what I mean?
And now we know Ty Dillinger's the one getting all up on that.
Oh my gosh, how disappointing. And not only that, like Buddy Murphy from NXT is getting Alexa Bliss.
How many seconds do you think Ty Dillinger lasts with Mandy Rose? 10. That's such a bad joke. Thanks for playing along.
That's
I had two notes left for SmackDown. I don't know what you have left.
You've got two more than me.
I have heel Shinsuke Nakamura is so fun and entertaining.
It's working.
And it's working really well. And the other note was General Manager Paige is the drizzling poops.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, I mentioned that last week and the week before. I can't with her. This has got to change.
It was the worst to start SmackDown. Like, it was so bad. And she's doing that crutch where she's saying people's names to get cheap pops. And then they're not giving her what she wants, and she just looks confused. And
she's so bad at this, man.
And her lips are getting weird, and she doesn't look normal anymore.
Her whole body's changing, and it just looks unnatural, and I can't stand that.
This is not long. I'm telling you right now, this is not long.
I don't know. I think she might have to do worse than just be bad. They want her to be exposed when that movie comes out, which, by the way, my understanding is 2019 on that. Right. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
At least I will say this. That's a movie I will probably want to see.
Me too. I mean, I liked their other movie better.
And on that note, unless you've got anything else, I will. You gave both your two notes, right?
Yeah, and happy birthday, Bastion Booger. We'll say that one more time.
Happy birthday, Bastion Booger. Good stuff today, Jared. Thank you for coming back to the show.
I guess I needed a timeout. I needed a timeout from this show.
Listen, we want to know in the post show what show do you think was better, the Greatest Royal Rumble or Backlash?
Shut up! Stop it! Will you be serious?